Hey there, Kayla here. Welcome back to my channel. This is in response to my other, how I dealt with weight gain videos, how I gained and lost 50 plus pounds in my recovery. So people have been saying, okay, Kayla, you say that we, have to gain some healthy weight if we want to ever get our life and health back after sacrificing our life and health to maintain abs or to get a lean, tight, and toned and so-called fit body, and that some weight gain is actually healthy in diet recovery or coming from a past of dieting or restricting foods and being super obsessive to where it stole your life and health as a result. So restricting foods and food groups or over-exercising. But then, they ask, so how do I know then if I'm going to gain weight and then going to become unhealthily obese? Why are there so many obese people out there, but I won't become obese from following my extreme hunger, following my cravings? And they say, I still feel like if I let go of restricting or dieting, then I'll just eat and eat until I become obese, and that I have to continue to restrict or restrict again once I gain a bit of weight for the rest of my life to control my body, because I don't believe my body has it covered. I can't trust myself around food. I can't trust food, they say. And I get it. I was there too. So there's a number of reasons why people can become obese outside of diet and over-exercise recovery. But first, I want to preface this whole video by saying just because someone has extra fat on their body does not mean that they're unhealthy or miserable and unhappy. And on the contrary, someone who's skinny and at a size 0 or 2 or lean with a 6-pack abs doesn't mean that they're healthy and happy. So you never know what's going on on the inside, behind the camera or in real life or behind closed doors. And you can't judge someone by just looking at them. It's all relative to the individual and their circumstances and genetics and so many different things. So if we can first get rid of this assumption and judgment, that would be great. And that helped me a lot as well. So what is the truth about obesity? Well, first, what I really want to address out of all of this is this fear in diet recovery that if one quits their diet and does not restrict foods, that they will just eat and eat until they are obese. Okay, this is what I want to talk about. So because of this cultural fear of the widespread obesity epidemic that everyone talks about and everyone fears, they then apply this fear to their recovery, and therefore this fear that they will become obese from letting go of the restrictions and control in their diet and lifestyle, and that if they finally, listen and surrender to their constant extreme mental and physical hunger that controls their everyday life. So constantly thinking about food, thinking about what they're going to eat, when they can or cannot eat, what they should or should not eat, scrolling through food porn on the internet, watching what I eat in a day videos and drooling, being a clean eating food Nazi that no one wants to be around, these kinds of things. That's what I mean by extreme mental and physical hunger. And also, this is not a normal way of living if you're healthy and you're not, your body is balanced and not starving. Okay, and this is pretty common coming from typical diets out there today. So back to these people, myself included at one point. So they do not believe that there is an end, that this type of extreme mental and physical hunger is just a part of their life, and they're gonna have to fight this battle with their body and fight food and fight their cravings forever. And this is just not the case, okay? So they think that they have to start to restrict or watch what they eat again once they are weight restored, or they've regained to their prior weight before losing the weight on their diet, or once they get their period back. But this type of thinking will literally keep people in quasi-recovery or half-ass recovery for years, if not forever, which is common. So it's not a matter of, okay, now I'm at a BMI of 23 or 25, so now I need to restrict again to keep the weight from getting too out of control. Because right now, this is already too much. I never would have imagined myself getting to this point, so I can't bear to have any more. But for your body, if your body keeps gaining, then it's probably necessary that it needs to go to that point in order to heal and feel balanced and healthy. And whether that goes down after you get to a higher point, that's up to your body. but you have to let go of that control. So it's more like, okay, I'm at a BMI of 23 now. Great. I've made huge progress. I'm proud of myself. Give yourself a pat on the back, and say, I never thought I could do this, because you probably couldn't. I couldn't have, So now if my body continues to gain weight and continues to have strong hunger or extreme hunger and cravings, or I still haven't recovered my period, or I have recovered my period but I still have strong hunger and my weight keeps climbing, then I need to continue to listen to my body and eat to fullness regardless of where my body is at, or else my body will think that it's still being threatened and therefore will stay in starvation mode, and the cycle won't end and you won't break free. So you may get somewhere, but then you may stall and you're not living up to your true potential, right? You still are holding on to some kind of restriction and you're not completely free. You have to say, I trust in my body, and therefore the body will eventually trust you too again. So, as with anything, relationships, whatever, with your body or with another human, trust building takes time on both sides. So give yourself, but also give your body time to rebuild trust after years of distrust and betrayal via dieting and pushing the body to over-exercise that threatened its survival, literally, and livelihood. And again, okay, I get it, because this was me before finding diet recovery, or, entering a full phase in my journey of just letting go of every restriction or compulsion or purging or over-exercising, still holding on to some kind of restriction in my diet that I really craved. So I didn't trust the body, and it was hard to learn how to trust again. It's hard to trust that there was a way out of this prison, this dietary prison, that everyone seems to be on some kind of diet bandwagon. So I felt like I should be too. But now I know that it's not a life sentence. So it's what you do from here on out that depicts your future. Your actions now will manifest as your reality in the future. You, the person coming from a restrictive past, are not to be compared to the person that eats past satiety, choosing to ignore their fullness, either via ignorance or out of conscious awareness, or overeats to run away from stress or emotional trauma, whatever. So with that said, if you're coming from a restrictive past in any way, shape, or form, that means strict paleo, ketogenic, low-fat, high-carb, GAPS, vegan, fasting, Whole30, clean eating, strict clean eating, meal prepping, and if it fits your macros, these kinds of things, you are not typically experiencing emotional eating or boredom eating or stress eating or, binge eating disorder that you need to get under control. All you need to do is eat and listen to your hunger. Our hunger and satiety will adjust over time if we're consistent. Remember that you have literally starved and restricted your body for years, and your main job right now is to eat a shit ton of food and gain weight and not fear the weight gain, and let go of the fears that you'll eat until you're obese. So, you're not alone in this. Pretty much everyone I talk to has this fear, so it's pretty common. Your body will self-regulate, your body will heal, and your body will trust again. Your body is freaking amazing if you give it the space and opportunity to show you. So you have to commit and make it your purpose in life right now to get your body out of starvation mode for the sake of your future and quality of life, for a life of freedom and for your body's survival. You have permission to eat and gain weight without fear right now. Trust that you will gain weight, but you will not become obese and you will not stay at a super high overshot weight where you feel super uncomfortable forever. Things adjust. Your mindset to weight gain and eating adjusts, and your physical body adjusts too. I truly believe that I overshot as high as I did at a BMI of 30 because I recovered my period back and gained 50 pounds, but then I relapsed or yo-yoed again and stayed in this quasi type of recovery for quite some time because I feared the weight gain was bad and that it was unhealthy and that I had to get it off ASAP. I feared that I was never going to stop gaining weight, but that only seemed to set me back. And, it lowered my metabolism right back down again because through the yo-yoing that time, my body didn't release any weight that time. It held on to every pound for dear life. Okay, so went down a little tangent, but I want to say another reason that people often become obese these days is because people can slowly increase their set weight point higher and higher over time from yo-yo dieting and these perceived healthy diet trends that are restrictive in their nature. So if you want to know more about the set weight point, you can either read it in my book, Damn the Diets, or you can listen to another video that I did where I talk about the set weight point theory. There are people, by continuing to diet and continuing to restrict, they therefore continue to lower their metabolism each time as a result. So the body lowers the metabolism to conserve energy in the form of extracting as much nutrients as it can from the limited amount of energy or food that does come in, and store it all as fat because it thinks that it's going to be continually starved. You know, diet starts Monday, I'm gonna get it all in now, but I'm gonna start my diet again Monday or tomorrow. There are so many types of diets and forms of restriction that go on today, and the majority of the population all over the world is typically on some form of a restrictive diet that's not natural for their body or lifestyle. And as a result of this diet culture and of the weight loss industry, we suffer from disordered eating and not full capacity in our lives, living our true potential, and suffering. There's a lot of suffering going on as a result. So again, whether that's restricting a whole food group, such as carbs or fats, sugar, grains, gluten, dairy, soy, meat, or restricting the amounts of food, so limiting calories, or whether it's using laxatives to purge calories or calorie compensate and calorie purging by overexercising or throwing up orally, or eating less the next day or meal, or exercising more to earn your calories or burn calories, or whether that's they go all day without eating because they claim to be too busy at work to eat, or do intermittent fasting against their body's wishes, and they make that excuse to justify them not eating and then binge at night to make up for the lack of food coming in all day, when really they're thinking about food all day and they can't wait until their binge meal at night. So they continue on this never-ending cycle to lose the weight or get trim and get the abs or get vascular by dieting and over-exercising. And then they binge and they gain all the weight back and they go on a diet again to try to lose the weight, but each time it just gets harder and harder to lose the weight, and the body tries its hardest to hold on to the weight. So each time that they fall off the bandwagon or binge and can't maintain their willpower or self-control anymore, they raise their weight set point even more, because the body senses that it's in this continual threat that it won't be fed and it's going to be continually starved, because this is a form of starvation. So for these people, their metabolism isn't broken and they can get back to a normal set weight point that their body wants to be at and is naturally designed to be at. It just may take a bit longer because they have been in this process for a lot longer than someone who hasn't been continually raising that set weight point. So it is possible, it just takes a while for the body to trust again, because for many years it has been conditioned to not trust and to store fat in order to survive. So it's a survival mechanism. So you should be grateful, if anything, that your body is trying to do all of this for your survival. And now, if you can understand it, now you can change it and work with the body and not get pissed off because it's not doing what you want it to do, kind of thing. And you can develop this patience for the body again. It's not until these people are consistently feeding themselves and their body sees and trusts over a long period of time that it will be fed consistently. So whatever it's asking for and whenever it wants. And over time, the urges to binge and the extreme cravings or the extreme hunger begins to die down as the body no longer sends this cry for energy to make up for the energy deficit. Over time, the body does not have a use for the extra stored fat, and slowly the body can begin to release the weight that it doesn't want, and it will go back to its healthy set weight point, and whatever that is for each unique body. You know, you're different from me, I'm different from you, and Susie, and Joe, and all of these people, right? It's different for everyone. Remember that. There is body diversity. The body always wants to go where it feels comfortable, but it will do whatever it needs to do and whatever it takes in order to survive. And it will go to whatever lengths to make sure that the body survives. So once it survives and it feels safe, that it will not be threatened, it will feel safe, and it will go back to where it feels normal and healthy, being in a normal, abundant environment again of food. So someone who has lost their period, or they're losing their hair or energy, or binge eat and feel crazy around food as a result of dieting, remember, you need to eat a shit ton of food to restore the energy and caloric deficit. And no, you won't become obese from eating to extreme hunger coming from this past, if you never restrict again and you're consistent. Okay, so are you still with me? So we've talked about why people can increase their set weight point over time via continued restriction, but now I do want to say that undereating and overeating can both be a form of trying to gain control or cope with stress or past traumatic events, or, you know, be used as a distraction from unwanted feelings or emotions that someone just doesn't want to deal with. You know, it seems too much to deal with anything. They don't have time. They don't want to feel weak. They don't want to be vulnerable. These kinds of excuses. So they never start. And they turn to undereating or overeating or alcohol or drugs or workaholism, just like people who undereat to feel in control or to feel comforted or to suppress or distract from emotions that they don't want to deal with, such as anger, stress, anxiety, jealousy, getting hurt, opening up and no one being there, feeling lonely, things like this. Stress, for example, is a big one. So people also can overeat past satiety. So they're ignoring their hunger cues, or, you know, they're not tuning into their body's satiety cues that the body is in fact full. And so overeating as a way to feel comforted or to distract from stress or to run away from situations that they need to deal with and they seem too overwhelming, or run away from emotions that overwhelm them. And so they use food as their coping mechanism, just like someone who would turn to drugs, alcohol, sex addiction, workaholism, whatever. But in this case, the body is clearly not asking for the amount of food that the person is choosing to overconsume on. And the body is not coming from a restrictive background, and therefore you can eat past satiety for these reasons and obviously gain a bunch of weight from overconsumption that the body clearly does not want or need or is asking for. So another one besides stress is lack of purpose in their life or lack of connection in their life. So they don't feel they're contributing to anything outside of themselves in life, or they're not growing in any way. They're just in their little comfort safe zone. They aren't challenging themselves, and therefore they are not growing or bettering themselves. And because of this lack in their lives, they overeat to try to fill these kinds of voids. So there's different kinds of voids. Or they become alcoholics, or they're shopaholics as well. There's so many different things out here, but here we're talking about undereating, overeating, that kind of stuff. That's also a reason for the obesity epidemic, as the modern world is full of new stressors that people don't want to or know how to deal with. But that's not who I typically deal with, okay, with Damn the Diets. I deal with people coming from a restrictive background that need to eat a lot more than what they're eating currently, and a lot more variety than what they're eating. Their body's obviously asking or needing more food, but the person is ignoring those communication signals to eat more, such as cravings. And by a restrictive background, I simply mean any kind of conscious restriction in the diet that the body doesn't ask for, but we impose on the body. So it's not something that you literally don't want or crave, but it's something that you are strongly craving, you strongly desire and enjoy, and your biofeedback says that you do great with if you give it enough of a chance. So, you know, within reason here, you don't make up an excuse to justify that you don't do good with it, right? Again, I will go over it again. So, you know, because a lot of people are like, I don't diet, but, you know, they are restricting carbs, fats, sugar, protein, gluten, dairy, meat, or pizza and cereal that they're strongly craving, simple things like that. Or restriction in the form of strict paleo, raw veganism, Whole30, intermittent fasting, all of these kinds of trendy diets. I'm referring to people coming from restrictive pasts who have lowered their metabolism and wreaked havoc on their hormonal system, digestive system, all these kinds of things from dieting. Or over-exercising for that matter too. So whether that communication from the body comes from a form of a craving or food obsession 24/7, obsession with recipe books and what I eat in a day videos. I said all of this earlier, but I will add to it, feeling guilty about eating in general, feeling shameful about your body, fearing eating because you fear gaining weight, having an over obsession with your body's appearance to where it takes over your life and you're not even living anymore. You won't even leave the house because of your appearance that day. So where your body resides, where your body wants to go to, where it feels comfortable and healthy. It could just be body structure from genetics, such as a European background or an Eskimo where they needed a lot of fat on their body for cold winters, like polar bears. And so realize that body diversity on this planet is real. And it's coming from a survival mechanism, a biological survival response from the intelligent body. Know and realize that we're not all meant to look the same. We're not all meant to exercise the same. We're not all meant to eat the same. So I want you to ask yourself, where do you want to be in 2 to 5 years from now? Still fighting food and fighting your body, still gaining weight anytime you eat food because you continue to suppress your metabolism, or having healed your metabolism and be able to eat whatever on the holidays, on the weekend, during the week, on vacation, and maintain your healthy body weight, for you without really effort and not being a slave to the ever-looming food thoughts day in and day out, or the exercise regime. And I promise you, this is a natural cycle and that the body is a self-regulating machine that is biologically designed for this, to regulate fat and water according to the environment in which it thinks it's in, and as a healing mechanism. So if the body thinks that the environment is scarce and it feels continually threatened, that it won't have access to food day in and day out from dieting, the body is gonna adjust accordingly by ramping up the food-obsessed thoughts to get food and to lower the metabolism in order to not starve, and its main focus will be to get food. So if you're in diet recovery and you're scared that once you start gaining weight or if you already have and it's been going on for like 5, 6 months, a year, whatever, and you're afraid that it's not going to stop and you're going to become obese, first off, you won't if you follow and trust your body from here on out. Let go of trying to control it. And second, you have to remember you are coming from a restrictive background that suppressed and lowered your metabolism, and you need a shit ton of food. And just because you gain some weight does not mean that you don't deserve to eat anymore. You're not going to become obese because your body is obviously asking for a lot of food. And the only way out of this is to feed your body consistently and to get rid of the guilt and shame around eating and around your body changing. So even if you're binging and you're facing extreme hunger, even after gaining your weight back and getting your period back, you still have to eat. Even if this means going over a BMI of 25 and remaining there for a while until your body trusts you again and trusts the environment again. So in diet recovery, some people may need to overshoot their natural set weight point in order for the body to feel safe from a future famine. And it may stay here for a while, like I was saying, until it starts to release the weight. It wants to make sure that you're not gonna start again to restrict. You're not gonna start restricting again just because you gain some weight back. So again, you won't keep gaining forever if you don't restrict yourself or deprive yourself and develop the all or nothing mindset of saying no 100% to something and then have legit fears and panic attacks if you eat it, or have guilt or shame around eating it because you'll gain weight or you'll become unhealthy. Letting go to never again entertain these behaviors, and if you consistently feed your body. So the body shows up for you every single day. Now it's your turn to show up for your body and surrender to your body and honor your body and listen to your body as it tries to communicate to you via nonverbal communication that is mental hunger, physical hunger, signs to rest rather than to continually overexercise, the body has it covered. The metabolism will change over your recovery journey. So don't fear your body, don't fear your hunger, stop fearing food, stop fearing weight gain, stop fighting your body. You're in recovery and you need all of this. That's why your body is asking for it so desperately. That's why you feel so uncontrollable and crazy around food every time you restrict that food. So you have to do whatever it takes now for your survival, and trust in the process and trust in your body and let go of trying constantly to be in control. Your body needs you right now. So overall, this is from my personal experience and what I've learned working extensively with others and my clients to recover as well in my online courses and private coaching and private consulting. So if you're in overshoot right now, or if you're gaining any amount of weight, or your body's changing at all, or you're getting close to being overshot and overshoot, remember, it's what your body needs from a suppressed metabolism and restrictive past, versus the people without a dieting past or people not dealing with stress properly. Things will balance out if you just stay true to you. You tune out the noise and you just do you. And just remember to stay consistent, persistent, and committed to finding your own balance and freedom that only you can define for yourself. So if you want more help on this, like what you hear me talk about finding your balance, you know that's what you want, you've been at recovery for some time, you know what you have to do, but you're having a hard time and you feel stuck in this quasi-recovery or not knowing how to deal with the weight gain, my new course, Find Your Balance, is exactly for that. That's why I created it, because typically that's what I see a lot of people residing in, is this quasi-recovery, stuck for way too long. So I want to help you get out of there. So if you're interested in that, you can click the link above or below, or go to my website, damnthediets.com. Now, I do want to just touch on children who are or who have fat-phobic parents or fear that their kid is going to become obese. Whether in their genetics they are more prone to store more fat on their body, or if the parents put them on a Weight Watchers regime at such a young age. This does not help long-term weight loss, but it actually promotes long-term fat gain and fat storage. And it promotes childhood obesity, but more importantly, long-term fat that's going to be really hard to reverse, especially the mindset around their body and their food and their self-esteem and their body image and their relationship with food and exercise. So always depriving a kid and saying no, no, no to everything, the kid's gonna wanna do the exact opposite thing, and it's gonna also, it may form binge eating as well, because it's been deprived for so long of something that it wants. When it gets its hands on it, it's gonna binge and it's gonna rebel. It's gonna want that thing even more so, just like an adult who diets or who is cut off or has off limits or bad foods or bad anything in that nature. That's the nature of humans. The brain will perseverate on that cut or off limit food until it is fed that food and not restricted any longer. And it loses its novelty when it gets consistent access. So once you stop controlling food, food stops controlling you. And that goes for children and it goes for adults. So if you want to prevent obesity, don't diet, don't yo-yo diet, don't overexercise and do high intensity workouts that you dread and you hate and you feel exhausted after. And doing that every single day. This stuff is extremely stressful on the body. Talk about stress. And you will run into problems eventually. Biology will end up winning. It will end up catching up with you. Okay, so this is quite a long video, but I had a lot to say on this, and I get so many questions on, the truth about obesity. Why are people obese then? Why can I eat? And why will I not become obese? Okay, so these are the core principles. Understanding these core principles could literally get rid of people struggling with the weight fluctuations and hating themselves and feeling guilt and shame around food and their body, because this is not the way to live. And there is a way out, okay? Because I was there. It held control over me. I thought that I was prisoner to that belief system. So be careful to not box yourself into these belief systems, these limiting beliefs where you say, well, it's just always been this way, so this is just me. This is just my life. okay? Because you can run into trouble there, because then you give your power away to make any changes. And once you do that, you know, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to stay stagnant. Okay? If you believe you can change something, you can. So make that your new belief system, your core belief. Okay? I have faith in you. I believe in you. And if you're even watching this video, especially till the end, that shows a lot. Okay? That you're open, that you're willing. So now it's just about taking action after this video. So let me ask you, what is the next best thing that you can do in your life to get you to where you want to be 2 to 5 years from now? Okay? So don't think about all the things that you've done in the past and, oh, you should feel like shit. Oh, how could you do that to your body and yourself? Oh my gosh, I have to do all of this and it's going to take forever. Just center yourself and remember, what is the next best thing I can do right now that I have control of? And then go from there. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. If you know anyone who is struggling with this cycle or in this cycle or struggling with a negative body image, be sure to share this video with them. Be sure to like and also to subscribe to this channel for more topics like this. And also let me know in the comments below if you have any other questions or what you think about this subject, because I love to hear from you too. Okay, so until next time, I'll see you in the next video.